But
There we go.
All right. Start with the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Morning, everyone. Call the meeting to order and approve the agenda, unless there's anything.
I did change on the agenda. I put to
To
approve the transfers for secondary road.
secondary road.
I gave them a resolution number.
So that's going before the, or after Colin, or you got anywhere?
Before, I just wrote it in there. I printed the new agenda for you.
So we have that, that's it. Anyone want to make a motion to accept that change?
I'll make a motion to accept the change and approve the agenda for today.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Agenda is approved. We have minutes from June 8th.
I made a motion to approve the minutes from June 8th. I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. General public concern? Any? None? How about Scott Kern? Is he available? Good morning.
Morning.
You don't see a check.
Well, no check this
year.
No check this time around.
Whatever.
Bobby.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Scott Curran from Haven Smarty Curran Agency. Just wanted to come and review the upcoming county renewal package with ICAP, which will be July 1st. And just wanted to go through some high level summaries here. And we've got, vehicle lists and schedules, equipment that I just share with department heads that they review. So, Ben, Todd, Dean will go through all of those individual schedules with those guys, but wanted to go through at least a high level summary with you guys here this morning. Just starting out probably, where we're at with the premium on the second to the last page, and then we'll kind of go back through and recap. So there's a slight revision. I opened my inbox this morning, so I apologize. I had these printed ahead of time. It's what I get for trying to be proactive and getting it 2 weeks before the renewal date, and then we get revisions. But the revision is good. So on your 2026 to 27 column, there was a liability change. So instead of the 39,479 you see there, that was reduced by $686 down to 38,793. And that also impacted the umbrella, which is a few lines down. There was a $155 reduction there, so that revised premiums 220 or 22,806 instead of the 22,961 where it says commercial umbrella. You see 22,961. That reduced down to 22,806. And then it had a little bit of effect on the commercial cyber coverage by $17 down. So instead of 4,768, it's 4,751. And then, so that takes the overall total at the very bottom down to 291,529. Okay. And while we're on that section, pretty much everything rates in general have settled down and have calmed down. And you can see that in comparison to last year's, the one category, it's the commercial equipment that's, you see the biggest change, but I'll address that. The reason why it's not just all of a sudden we had to take a large rate increase there. ICAP does something unique in that they offer replacement cost on equipment. So this schedule or this section deals with things that are not licensed for the road. So a lot of Ben's stuff and some of Todd's stuff. So motor graders, backhoes, excavators, and any kind of, skid loader type things. So those equipment, what ICAP does that's unique is they offer those pieces of equipment at replacement cost as an option, which is what we've elected on almost every one of our pieces there. Much different than the general commercial market where our automobiles and, if you had a home builder, a contractor, or whatever that had some of that type of equipment, that would all be on a depreciated basis. So as it gets older, it's worth less. So it had been several years since they had looked at values of older pieces of equipment, and all of a sudden those got trued up on us. So for instance, case in point, I brought the list, which I'll share with Ben, if he, because we can pick and choose. We can say, well, this piece of equipment, we'd rather keep it off of replacement cost. So we don't have to take that, but then, it's one of those double-edged swords. If that piece of equipment were to get mangled up pretty bad, well, now you're only maybe, well, for instance, we've got some 2011 John Deere 722 motor graders. Those were previously listed at 246,000. The revised went up to 527,900 on each of those. So we almost basically doubled the amount of coverage that we have, because that's what replacement, if we wanted to get a new motor grader today, that's what it's going to take. So that, generated some additional cost of $1,900 on each one of those rigs. So the downside is if that one of those has a big problem, we're potentially limited to 240,000 or whatever ACV, depreciated cash value, would be for those, versus ICAP letting us purchase a brand new one and writing a check for the whole thing, and our budgets aren't affected by that. So that's the difference there. When we get to the summary pages, I'll note what kind of value increase we had, and that's what drove the premium on that section. Otherwise,
Just a quick question on that. If we had one that, like the one that went over in the ditch and had needed help.
Yeah.
Versus one that's going down the gravel road and starts on fire. Are those both considered? Because by the time you get a fire truck out there.
right. So that would be the
That would
case
be the
where if
case.
it burns up, and is completely lost, if it's a replacement cost piece of equipment, then it doesn't matter if that was a 15-year-old piece of equipment.
It doesn't get depreciated.
It doesn't get depreciated. We get to go to Cat or whoever, John Deere, and buy a brand new one, and that check gets written for that value.
Well, it's just, it's
Yeah.
similar to like a semi.
Mm-hmm.
You're out there with the semi and you got a little fire extinguisher that's this big and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
spitting at it,
Right. Yeah, if it gets going too quick.
just
So
curious how
So
that
yeah,
works.
that's the idea there, is why that changed, and we'll go through that. So otherwise, all the other categories, even had a few of them that stayed the same, if not reduced by a little bit. So we'll go through those. I just wanted to touch base because that's usually what people are interested in the most on that. So we'll go back to the beginning, talk about our property coverage. Our property is on a blanket basis. So what that means is we have a statement of values, which is a schedule of locations, and each building and personal property is identified separately with a value, but we're not held to that specific value. It's all blanketed together under one value, which you see is $24,610,476. And that's our bucket of money that will go to any one building if needed. So if what the statement of value says is a little bit light, we get to borrow from the bucket to make it to where we can repair. And so they have, and that's on a replacement cost basis. That's what the RC stands for there. And so because of it being on a replacement cost, on the buildings, they do an inflation, what they call an inflation guard. We increased that values up a little bit. I think the inflation guard they applied was roughly 2%. So that was up 490,000 over the prior blanket value total from the previous year. With that, it's on a special cause of loss form, which is the broadest cause of loss form that ICAP offers. And there is a wind and hail deductible for what's a cat loss. So a cat loss, this is a little different than what most normal policies, if you have a percentage wind hail deductible that applies, which is common in the industry anymore. That generally applies in any type of storm situation, where here ISO, which is the Insurance Service Office, they're a national firm, they have to come in and declare a cat event in order for that to apply for the county. And the cat events are generally going to be 20 million and above. So chances are, if we just have a little isolated wind event or hail event, we're not going to be affected by that. Okay. And then the crime policy, that section, we have, it's employee dishonesty, money and securities. We have $200,000 limit, which is unchanged from the previous term for employee dishonesty, and $10,000 money and securities. With that, flipping the page to our general liability, we have a $2 million per occurrence liability. On most everything there, you'll see I included on this page our employment practices, public officials, law enforcement liability, all of that kind of captured on this one page. For the most part, the liability for operational things, just our general operational liability and owning premises and properties, there's no liability or no deductible that is attached to those types of liabilities. It's the liabilities sections that are at the bottom half that are more special in nature, law enforcement, public officials. So, the decision making that we make here as a board, employment practices, those kind of specialty type things, those do carry deductibles. But, if we are driving our backhoe and we hit somebody or something, then that's first dollar coverage, typically on those type of things. Okay. And then, so the bulk of this section is just made up of general county operational liability, but I list a few things here that in the middle of the section that are additional add-on small dollar amount charges that get added on, that would, if we didn't have these things, premium would be a little bit less. So, with that, any questions on that page? Otherwise, we'll move on to business auto. There again, we have a $2 million underlying policy there for any accident that we would be responsible for on a business auto liability basis. We have uninsured motorist of $1 million for that, and 5,000 medical payments. Our deductible schedule is comprehensive deductible is $250 for any scheduled unit and $500 for collision. And we'll see at the end, I have a little alternate deductible page that we can consider for higher deductibles at the last there. But those are our current scheduled deductibles. Our coverage does include hired and borrowed liability as well as non-owned liability. And the non-owned is kind of the important one, I think, here, because probably everybody here in this room, if you go to meetings, ISAC meetings or anything like that, you're probably driving your own vehicle rather than a county vehicle. Other department heads that may not have their own county supplied vehicle, if they're going to meetings, they have an accident along the way, their own liability on their own personal auto policy is going to respond first because they're driving their own vehicle. But supervisors or department heads that probably don't ask, did you pay your premium? Do you have a policy? Things like that. Something happens, we have injuries involved and question starts getting asked and they find out, oh, you're on county time going to a county meeting. Let's bring in Humboldt County. Well, then we've got the backing for a hired or a non-owned auto from our perspective. Okay. So then we'll flip the page to our equipment floater. So this is kind of what we were talking about here. This is where we're gonna find all of our non-licensed kind of motorized type equipment, the motor graders, the excavators, the backhoes, those kind of things. And, the prior year, that scheduled value, was 6,900,000 or so. And so now you see we're at 9,216,000. That's an increase of 2,367,000 over the prior year. And so that was the effect of ICAP going back. They actually acquired the services of a consultant to go through every county that they have their list and apply current values to these. So that effect, we added basically 2.367 million, and that's what drove that premium difference on the back page there. And like I said, that's because it's a unique thing. They offer replacement costs to where we can go get a brand new motor grader if that one burns up. Could save the county 500, well, we have it listed for a certain value, but could save, $200,000-$300,000 right there, pretty quick. And otherwise, the deductible here is $1,000 on that equipment. And like I mentioned, replacement cost or actual cash value, that's what the ACV says based on how we have them listed on the schedule. But like I said, I would say all but 2 or 3 pieces we have replacement cost designated on. That's why the difference there. Flipping the page to workers' compensation.
Here's one more. Chris, are you happy with that computer coverage?
I wasn't even listening.
Do you have a copy of this?
Well, that communications equipment, is that what you're talking about there?
No, it says
Rick?
under computer
Oh.
coverage.
Okay,
There's software,
Oh,
and computer
yeah.
virus and, hardware.
That's not the cyber. The cyber, we have $1 million worth of coverage.
Yeah,
I need-
fiber,
yeah.
this is computer coverage.
Right,
That's what I was just asking him for the physical stuff.
yeah. And that's just more of equipment floaters. So that's
Yeah.
gonna be if we take a laptop out in the field and things, so
It's trash.
all of these things, all the stuff in the
Like-
courthouse is gonna be considered personal property of the courthouse. Cause, unless somebody takes it off site. So that's gonna be built into our
That'd be
property
covered.
property blanket.
That's only. for
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
All right,
Mm-hmm.
good enough.
Another question is this replacement cost on this equipment, is that you have to have that specified in? Or do you have blank everything that's got a replacement cost?
You're talking on that equipment schedule?
Equipment schedule.
Right, so there is. It's a schedule that they have, and then there's a designation for each piece, replacement cost or actual cash value. Like I said. Probably all but 3 or 4 pieces that we have on that schedule are designated as replacement costs right now. And so that's why they had to adjust our valuation.
Cause I know a lot of times, Ben, I think has some little graders that he just kind of slides down.
Yeah, there's kind of back.
Winter just kind of, yeah, something that would happen to them.
Right,
You really don't need it replaced with a new one,
right. Yeah, and so this list is what I'll share with them. This is the list of things that they really adjusted values on. So, there's maybe one that's there's a 2006 on here that probably is used as an as needed basis. Well, that one went from 224 up to 424. So maybe that's one,
That's what I.
but that's the other double-edged sword. That would be the one they put into service and then all of a sudden it catches on fire and we're out.
Yeah.
Instead of being able to replace it at 400, we're only gonna get, and that was
Really kill you if you had a building caught on fire and they
lost everything house.
say you lost 5 maintainers
Yeah.
in there.
Right.
That could be.
And just because and that's an actual cash value, just because that one happened to be 224, well, that might be overstated. They'll come in and say market value on that is 100.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So.
I see.
So even there, if we gotta be careful too if we go actual cash value on a piece or two, we don't wanna overstate that either because it's gonna be the lesser of what market value is or what we have on our list too. So, yeah.
That happened down in Hamilton County a couple years ago, didn't it? We had a building burn and.
Oh, lost a lot of things
lost a lot of
inside,
equipment.
right? Okay, workers' comp, again, continues to be, I like this kind of broken record that we've had over the last 3 or 4 years. This continues to be a shining star for the county. And it's been a huge improvement because I think only maybe 5 years ago, we were the exact opposite. We were, paying more than the standardized premiums here. So we have, employer's liability. This is $1 million worth of coverage. Now that's a little bit of a misnomer because if we have an employee that gets injured and they have permanent disabilities, the $1 million is not a limit for any kind of medical or permanent lost time. This is if a lawsuit was allowed against the county for being an employer, which state statutes protect employers very well because state statutes also protect the employees by saying if you get hurt while you're working, your employer is responsible. So it works both ways. It's unlimited if somebody gets hurt and it's permanent disability, they can't work for the rest of their life. If that takes $2 million over the course of their lifetime to satisfy, then that's what it takes. But where the good news is in that middle section, the top number, the 86,105, that's the standardized rate for all classes. So there's several classifications that go into making up our premium because you have office and clerical is a class. You have Ben's people have their own class. Todd's people have their own class. There's a lot of Dean's people have their own classification. Different rates apply because of the hazard of the job, basically. And so if you added all those up, that starts at 86,105. Then what differentiates us is what they call the experience modification. So everybody starts out at a 1.0. And so that would be, if you were at 1.0, you'd be at the 86,000. If you have claims experience, so then there's an actuarial formula that's beyond anything I can comprehend how that formula works. But what they do is they look at the oldest 3 years of the 5-year window, the oldest 3 out of that 5. They plug those into the formula, and that's based on claims, the frequency of claims and the severity of claims over that time period. And that formula then says if you're better than what was expected, you get a number assigned below 1, and that turns into a credit or a discount. If you've had some claim troubles over that period, you're going to be assigned a factor above 1. And that's where we were a handful of years ago, 1.10, that'd be a 10% surcharge put onto that $86,000 premium.
So every year we can put on to the good, we get further away from that number.
Right. So for instance,
to be able to use that mod.
Correct. Right. So that modification factor is 0.66 this year. Last year we were at 0.73. So we've continued to drive that number down because of our safety meetings, safety committee, how we've been working collectively of being safe. So you see that 0.66, what that did is subtracted $29,276 off of that top line number right away. Then what's tied to the lower that number, that modification number goes, IMWCA, which partners with ICAP, IMWCA is our carrier for the workers' comp side. ICAP is everything else. They provide additional credits and discounts. And so our premium discount last year was 32%. It has grown to 41% this year. So that subtracts an additional 23,300 off of the rate. And then so that takes a discounted premium down from 86,000 to 33,529. And then they also tack on a 20% good experience credit. And I think that you max that out if you're below 0.86, I think. They start going on, it maxes out at that 20%. So since we're below the 0.86, we get that additional 6,707 taken off. So all in, our overall premium is at $27,082 off of a base of 86,105. So I did that quick math. We are paying 31.5% of our base rate because of all the credits and discounts for working safe. So, good, yep. Okay. So yeah, continue, keep up the good work. I think obviously the proof is in the pudding here, what we've been doing with having meetings and stressing safety is paying dividends for sure. Our umbrella page, that's just our excess liability. We have $6 million that goes over the top of any of our underlying liabilities. So our general liability, automobile liability, that takes those $2 million base limits up to 8. So we're working off of a pool of 8 million all in. And you'll see down below, there's increased, if we wanted to increase that umbrella excess from 6 to 7 or 6 to 8, you see the additional costs that would bring in. I look back, we were at 4 million prior, and we bumped that in 2021 to the current 6. So it's been 5 years ago that we last took an increase on that. So we're at, like I said, a combined 8 million. If you've added anything additional, you either go to 9 or 10 at those additional costs there. Okay. Then of course we kind of touched on that premium summary there, and like I said, pretty consistent across. You know, it's just more exposure changes than rate changes. Even on the automobile, we've added a couple of new vehicles here in the last 12 months. That more so drove the difference than any kind of rate. Then on the last page is our alternates that I talked about, looking at different either options or deductibles. So the first one is a cyber. I think it was just last year, either last year or 2 years ago, we bumped our cyber. Cyber was at $250,000 limit. We bumped it to $1 million. So that's what shows our current limit, but they also are offering $2 and $3 million. Of course, at those levels, they won't offer a premium until we submit an application. If that's something we're interested in, we have to submit, and they want to know things like how our fire, what kind of safety and security we're using before they put a number to raising that coverage up. So that's available. On the property side, like I said, we're at a current $1,000 or $1,000 deductible. They offer alternatives of a $5,000 deductible or a $10,000 deductible. Shows the savings, annual savings for doing that if anybody decided. So for a $5,000 deductible would save $1,316, which is about a 3-year payback, because you're increasing your deductible by $4,000. You would save that over a 3-year period. In 3 years, you'd be saving that $4,000. So if you had one property claim in the next 3 years, you're no better off, you're no worse off. You go farther than that, you're saving money. We have a run of bad luck, and we have more than 1 in 3 years, we're going to be behind. That's the way I look at that. And then the auto physical damage, our current is $250 comp, $500 collision. The first alternate they offer is $1,000 comp and $1,000 collision. That one to me is a little head scratcher. I don't know. You only save $682. Well, that's more than you're giving up in deductible almost. So you got several vehicles on the road. So, the chances of us needing something like that, you can probably, it's a tough one to make a payoff on that one, but. So those are available for you guys to discuss and decide if you want to adjust any of those. Otherwise, that's all I have for you. Be happy to take any questions, or if you think of something after the fact, you can let Trish know, and she can get me share it with me, and then we can get an email answer back, or she can share back to everybody.
I have a question.
Yep.
I've been asked numerous times since the bridge incident out here. If Reimer's trucking went across that and my truck's in the water with that bridge, am I on the hook for that? Or is the county? I mean, I said, I don't have a clue. It says 4 ton or 3 ton, whatever it is, and somebody's in violation. If we would find the person, or if we would have got them in the water, so to say. I'm asking just because nobody else seems to
Or
know.
they just turn into a long and lengthy legal battle.
Yeah, I mean, so they were overweight and they caused the bridge to collapse, is what you're saying?
Well,
Yeah.
that,
Or-
Yeah, they go
They're
across
gonna
the
hit.
bridge at it,
Oh.
is, you
the
know,
Murray Bridge.
you know.
It might
Yeah,
cost us 28,000 to have it.
No.
inspected.
No,
no,
it wasn't.
That wasn't,
That
That was
was,
for something
on
different.
another
that was
inspection.
planned for the new bridge.
Yeah, I checked it out.
Oh.
It hasn't been inspected yet.
Okay.
It'll
Yeah, I
probably
mean,
be
if it was-
I bet it'll be $1,000.
Yeah.
If they, I mean, if they cause property damage by hitting something, then it's their liability would come first for hitting, you know, the side of a bridge or the front of the bridge or anything like that. Yeah, if it's something where they didn't hit anything,
Yeah,
And it
they
just
just went
becomes-
across too heavy.
yeah, then it probably becomes a big investigation on, well, how was the maintenance of our bridge? Or did the county uphold their end of it by maintaining it? Or was it in good shape? It was just overweight issue,
Right,
that
yeah.
kind of thing. But yeah, generally, if anybody hits something with their vehicle or their semi, and they cause the property damage, then it's gonna be on them.
Right.
First, yeah.
So then we can put this on the, anybody has any more questions or
Put it on next week.
put it on
agenda,
next week's agenda and
approve,
Yeah, you can,
get you for,
Talk it over.
get us through the July deadline?
yep. Perfect.
Do you have anything in particular on here that you think that we're on the short side?
I mean, the building side, the blanket value, they said, you know, they went through their equipment list this year and kind of brought all the things up. They said it's either gonna be next year or the year after, they're gonna look at structure evaluations. You always get a little nervous about the courthouse. Our valuation on the courthouse, now granted, we've got 24 million in total, but I think the courthouse is either only 10 or 12 million, is 10 or 12 million of that, which sounds like a big number, but is 10 or 12 million enough in today's world to rebuild this thing? So it'll be interesting to see what ICAP comes out with when they actually, I think they're gonna engage the same consulting firm to go through and look at building valuations. So I mean, we'll maybe have to have I'm sure things are maybe a little undervalued, just be prepared for what that might bring. As far as they could come back and say, well, it takes 18 million or something like that, we could almost be. And that'll have an impact on our costs, as far as that goes. But yeah, you never, you know, from my perspective, I'll always recommend take the highest umbrella limit, go all the way to that 13 million. You know, is that feasible? We're one of the smaller counties in the state, not one of the larger ones. That's the highest they offer is 13 million. So, you never know how much is gonna be enough liability in this
Right.
given
Well-
situation. So,
Whatever the limit is, that's what they're gonna see.
sure. So yeah, you just,
They're gonna go after whatever they
Yeah.
can get.
and so as long as we, you know, keep up with the time, so to speak, like I said, the last time we bumped it up 2 million was back in 2021. You know, maybe that's still, we're still holding course and holding par there, but may not be a year or two down the road. We might have to keep up with the times on that, so. Yeah.
Thank you for
Mhm.
your presentation.
You bet. Any other questions during the week while you're thinking about it, just let me know and we'll try to get you answers before next Monday.
I think I have called you and talked to you about the windmill insurance, and that insurance doesn't come from the county, it comes from the farmer.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so looking at it from that perspective, if you're a landowner that's going to lease out, to whoever's gonna be bringing these in, a lot of times what happens is that lessee will ask to be added to the landowner's policy as an additional insured in case something would happen. And so at least, you know, the companies we work with, from a farm liability standpoint, Grinnell Mutual, they have a liability endorsement that can be added to the farm liability to allow, say, a Mid-American or whoever's gonna be bringing this in to be listed on their policy as a additional insured. So.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I think with the time being after the 9 o'clock hearing for the completion hearing, we could go to drainage and do that. Ben's, fuel quote and stuff can wait.
I'll make a motion to go into drainage.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to go into drainage at 9:05. All in favor?
Alright.
Opposed, same sign. You're on, Colin. I got my.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is the completion hearing for the Drainage District Sub 1 Tile Improvement Project. We got this one-page handout kind of here, that's the completion report.
This one, I'll make a motion to
Oh,
open the completion hearing. For
I'm
meeting
sorry.
11 sub 1.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to open the public hearing on DD 11 sub 1. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We're open at 9:07. All right, now. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is the completion hearing. It's when we do an improvement project for a drainage district. This is part of the kind of the process by code that we're required to do. So we, had hearings and got the project approved. We put it out for bid. We got a contractor lined up. It was Rognus Brothers Excavating out of Lake Mills. They did the work. We staked it out for them, and we were doing inspection and making sure they were putting it in the right way, basically in the way that we had designed and required. And then they completed it. They've been getting paid as we go, but 90% of what they're owed. So in essence, we've held back 10% of their pay until basically this is kind of the final step in that, is that if this is all approved today, the contract is completed, that triggers two things. One, it triggers the warranty period, which is a 1-year warranty period. So that would more than likely be from today for the next 1 year. If there's anything that comes up that is an issue, the contractor is required to come back and fix that at no cost. And then the other thing is that 30 days from today, that remaining 10% can be released and paid to the contractor. So this is, we invite the landowners to this hearing where work was done on their property, and so they have an opportunity to claim any sorts of damages or, give any comments. And then that's kind of in essence what this is. Just as a little bit of a recap of what the project was, we did a 1-inch drainage coefficient design, and we talked about this a little bit last week, but the report, I had a project estimate for that of $811,000, and we were looking at maybe a $531,000 ending project cost. That was that was my projection for the reclass about 3 months ago. So I am going to take one final look at it today before the levy gets finalized, and talk with Terry about that. But we had a final contract amount of $512,629.50 with Rognus. They have been paid. See, well, now that'd be out of date now because we approved one last week, but as of the writing of this report on May 7th, they had been paid $436,000 some odd dollars. Another item to talk about is the contract completion date for this project was February 27th of this year. So they actually did not have it done at that time. However, that actually was a good thing, and I talked with them about that. The core of the project was completed by actually February 3rd, but due to frozen ground conditions, pouring the outlet head wall concrete, leveling the open ditch spoils, and crushing the old clay tile and county secondary road right of way was completed later, in April. And that was a big part of that was digging up this old clay tile in the road basically, and so we didn't want to do that when it was all frozen. So they came back and did that early this spring. And everything was completed by May 1st. So the last sentence of that paragraph I've got here, finishing up the minor items after the contract completion date, in our opinion, was justified and preferable. Therefore, we recommend that no liquidated damages be assessed against the contractor. So in the contract, we typically have language that says this is the contract completion date. If it's not done by that time, you can be, we can claim liquidated damages against you like $300 a day for every day that it's not complete. But in this case, I'm not recommending any liquidated damages be claimed against the contractor. I don't have any crop damage recommendations for this completion. So everything was done after the crops were out last fall, and a lot of it was done, the ground was frozen and didn't really do much damage. And they finished up stuff in the field, like I said, in February. So they were working in the road ditch and things, and they really didn't do crop damage when they came back early this spring to finish up the project. A couple other comments, I guess, there's roughly 47,000 that I've sent a bill for to secondary roads for the construction in the road rights of way. And so far the drainage district has been paying the full bill for everything, but now secondary roads will be reimbursing the drainage district for construction in the road right of way. And that's really about it. I did print out like 5 copies of the as-built. I have those done. I've handed them out to landowners, and I gave one to Terry. I guess maybe I've got one more in here if anybody wanted to take a look at that, but it's got the tile connection locations, both visibly on the aerial plans, and then also we've got a table with descriptions, like what size of tile that was connected in, what material, and then northing and easting to give locations so that people could come back to that exact spot in the future. So that's all taken care of. With that, are there any questions or comments or claims for damages?
Have we received it to the office? Terry? Okay.
I got one question here. You just said about the 47,000 that the county is gonna reimburse the drainage district. Does that come off of our bill, or how does that work?
That's, so when I said 531,000, that already factors that in, that being taken out.
Okay.
So the
All right.
levy will be set based with that factored in already, that'll be taken out.
Okay,
Yeah.
yep. I didn't understand how that worked. Okay,
Yeah.
I do now.
Yeah, there's kind of two different ways to do that. We can either have the county be paying the contractor directly as we go, or just have the drainage district paying the bill, and then the secondary roads reimburse the drainage district at the end. It's kind of simpler and cleaner to do it this way. Any other thoughts or
Well, I'm gonna tell you, this guy here has done a tremendous job. Rognus has come in and did a fabulous job. We had a hole out there and I called him and they had it fixed within 48 hours. I'm sure it was 48 hours. They were there and fixed it in the road ditch. And it was just a little mistake and, this has been a really good project, fellas. Everything is smooth as silk here, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, so.
It was a good decision to, I know when we opened bids, we were kind of talking about the options and stuff, and it was really good decision to go with Rognus. Did an excellent job.
Those guys worked out there, it was just colder than hell, I'll tell you what, those are
Yeah,
some
they did.
tough
They
kids.
did.
Well,
Maybe we should do something more so that it would rain now. So that you can see.
It works, cause, when we had that 3-inch rain there, there was a lot of water coming out of that fella.
Good.
Yeah,
how's the open ditch handling it?
oh, that's fine, it's up there,
Okay,
yeah,
cause I know we cleaned downstream those short ways.
Yeah,
Blocked out.
100 feet or so.
yeah.
Well, with that, anything else? How about closing public hearing then?
All right, I'll make a motion, close the public hearing at 9:17.
We have a motion and a second, close the public hearing, all in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign, hearing is closed. Now we just need a motion to, I assume to accept this, where are you going here?
The formal way maybe to do it is, I don't know if you approve the completion report and the contract.
We have a big-
Yeah, I will do that. Yeah, I gotta set that up and then get the signatures but that should just be an easy thing, but yeah, we will have that later. So you don't have to include that as part of the motion to release that 10%. We'll have a separate pay claim. So yeah, I would do it something like approve this
Make a
report
motion to accept the completion hearing.
and they accept like the contract as complete or something,
Okay.
something like that. Cause that's really what we're ending up doing where it's.
I'll make a motion to accept the contract completed from Robbins Brothers on DD 11 sub 1.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to accept the completion of this report. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is accepted.
Thanks, Colin.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks.
Anything else in drainage, Terry?
Right now.
Then we're in drainage, I'm just gonna mention it. I had my IDDA meeting last week
Thanks, Dave.
and of course, we're paying our dues
Thanks, David.
on the fourth quarter here. So we pay $8,280 in county dues. And then we pay $3,450 into what you call our county mutual protection fund, which is a fund. It's got currently, I think, looking at roughly $94,000 to $100,000 sitting in it. For if anyone in our organization gets sued by people. So we can jump on it right away and we don't have to scramble to find money to hire a lawyer, basically, for protection. And that is an optional amount, not all members pay it. The ones that understand it, pay it. So we are pushing harder to get everyone to contribute.
So if you don't contribute, you still get to use that surplus money if you get sued?
Well,
We're soft. Go ahead and say it.
it has happened. Because, a joint project, some counties don't pay in, when the Des Moines Water Works sued us,
Yeah.
that's when this all come about.
Okay.
Some contributed, some did not. It doesn't seem fair, but you gotta defend yourself whether they all wanna be in it or not, and you can't force it.
Sure.
So, but I think it's, if we see counties, you can ask them, hey, you guys pay in, they should. But anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up because we're in drainage and.
Perfect. But they're not asking for more.
No, not asking for
God.
money, they're just saying thank you for the mutual protection fund donation, cause it is a donation. Where the dues are figured on per acre basis. Amount of drainage district acres you have, so.
What was that number?
8,280.
Thank you.
All right. Was, Dave coming over for Ben, or we just?
We got a drainage.
Yeah, did we get out? I think I interrupted.
I think we did get all that.
No, we didn't.
You got out of the hearing, but not.
Not the hearing, yeah, all right.
Make a motion to dump out of drainage.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, so you get out of drainage, all in favor?
I,
Pose same sign, we're out at 9:21. Dave out there by chance?
Steam.
I didn't see, I haven't seen the pickup pull up here. Ben's gone, yes, till Wednesday. Oh,
Vacations.
yeah, I think he's finishing the. Well,
Is it gonna come up, you think?
He's probably over by Delmar.
Oh, we're doing the blacktop.
give me a call, that's Dave's coming.
Yeah, cause I mean. We got the paperwork on that.
Well, we have it. I don't. I guess he can.
Is it on the 319?
Yeah. I bet you they're both over there.
Is that about done? 319?
And not P19, the blacktop, Gilmore City blacktop. Blacktop, I'm taking it up and down, aren't they?
Should be done.
Are they done?
Is it so?
Hey, is Dave coming over to the board meeting by chance, or is he over in by the Blacktop project? Okay, well, I guess we'll just stumble through this and pick the one we like. All right, thank you. Bye. He's over. Blacktop, so. We have the fuel quotes, through the fuel quote for 26-27. As I'm reading this, we have W&H Co-op. For 71.87. New Century, have they ever bid on ours? Is that somebody new?
I don't recall that, but.
I've never heard of it.
Is FS New Century?
Don't know, it says New Century out of Ames, Iowa. But their quote is for 76.10. New Co-op out of Fort Dodge is for 91.50. And Pro Co-op out of Pocahontas is for 14.9.
Oh,
So the, got the breakdowns for the Ruby Red is point, God, I'm gonna buy fuel from them,
yeah, it should.
holy cow. That, 0.14 versus 0.24 for the top. And I'm
Yes.
assuming that means they would recommend doing the W&H Co-op.
I'll make a motion to approve the quote from W&H Co-op for 71.8750.
We have a motion and a second for W&H. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign, W&H it is.
New Century is at best.
If that is,
Yeah, I was like, oh,
Just a different title.
yeah.
All right, approve the transfer of $775,000 from rural basic to secondary roads in lieu of the $919,438 from the budget by resolution 2026-06-15- Somebody want to explain that?
That's just how it's
Go ahead.
standard, allocation
moving
from,
it from one to the other
yes,
to pay his
how it's
bills,
collected to how we spend it.
alright?
So I'll make a motion to approve the transfer.
How's that?
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second for that transfer. With that being a resolution, we need a roll call vote. Bob,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Dennis, Rick,
Aye.
Bruce is aye, all ayes. Resolution passes. Then we have approve the transfer of 17,150 from general basic to secondary roads for reimbursement of the planning and zoning
He had
officer that we've been,
this is, rural basic, but we don't pay. The zoning and planning out of rural basic. So I did change that to general basic fund.
Okay.
And that's-
I'll make a motion to approve the transfer of 17,150 from general basic to secondary roads for reimbursement.
we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? This was agreed on back when we were,
Yeah,
It's per hour basis that
Yeah.
works on planning and zoning.
yeah. So that's another resolution, so with the roll call vote,
Aye.
you gotta wait till I call on you. Now I'm gonna go backwards, Rick. Dennis, Mike. Bob, how are you feeling now? Left out. First is I as well, so all ayes. Resolution passes. Bob, if you don't have a little bit of fun, we might just will be.
All right.
All right. Looks like we're getting down to discussion on the 28E with the city of Humboldt, which I'm completely confused by, but I guess I'm gonna listen to the thing. I'm just gonna say it. I thought last week we talked about, we tabled this after 30 days.
well,
Wasn't that what maybe I dreamt it.
No, Mike made the motion.
we had our public safety meeting last Tuesday. And it was on the agenda.
And we visited about it when we were up here canvassing.
Well, Monday,
Right,
I got this at 8:30 in the morning. And then I wasn't quite ready to make a decision on it, because we didn't even have an opportunity to read it, to discuss it as a board. Before we were down at our public safety. So at the public safety, we tabled it to our next meeting. To give us time to look at. So, and that's where it's at, and then. City wanted to come up and visit about it, right?
Yeah, I guess I'm just looking for an update more than anything, right? So I don't think this was on your last agenda at the Board of Supervisors meeting, so I didn't attend, but any update or direction you can give me, I can relay to the city council tonight.
Well, I know there was a few things the sheriff wasn't real in favor of, and I don't know if it's just the
Another score.
under, everything highlighted here.
that's under the jail.
Oh, yeah, 8.3. Under where it says prisoner acceptance at facility access. The sheriff's office shall accept in custody at the Humboldt County Jail all persons. Well, when you say all persons, they could bring someone in who has issues. And as soon as we accept them, they become the county's expense. Am I right, Sheriff? So I had some concerns about that. Changing the wording there maybe somewhat.
It should be just pursuant to sheriff's office policy.
There we go.
They have policies for which prisoner takes effect. Requirements as far as whether they need to check out at the hospital and further independent, whether the jail is full. If the jail is full, they're not gonna take certain prisoners.
Yeah, I
certain
mean,
things
that the
like
capacity
that.
thing is in there, but I was just concerned more about the physical condition of someone they bring in.
So it would have to be pursuant to the sheriff's office policy. We can't make an agreement that makes everything go with their policy. So, you know, if someone comes in over 250, but I don't know what should happen. They have to go to the hospital. There is no choice on that, right? Am I right?
Yeah, we met with the guy from HICAP a couple of years ago, and he wanted that in our policy, saying that before we put anybody in jail that has over a 250 blood alcohol, they've been cleared through the hospital first. Just because of the liability, they're so drunk that then they're a liability risk to the county.
That probably happened at least 50 times. I mean, that's crazy high, but it happens a lot. It is not uncommon. And then you would have people with mental health problems and people with injuries that either refuse medical treatment or, like more notice, but they need to be checked out too. I mean, it has to be through the sheriff's office policy. I don't think that's a big, change.
Like pregnant woman. I mean, that'd be another prime example. We don't want that.
Yeah, right.
But that would be another prime example of someone we don't want in jail if at all possible, because if they
Yeah.
miscarried while in jail, that would be huge liability thing to the county.
Uh-huh.
So
Accepting people.
are all of those things, when you take prisoners from Webster or another county, are all of those things discussed before? That they don't bring somebody up here that is in one of those conditions that you named?
Yeah. Webster, I can't say that 100% of their inmates, but the vast majority of their inmates have to be medically cleared through the ER before they'll look at them, before they'll even think about taking them. So a lot of theirs that they bring up to us have already been medically cleared through training before we take them.
Did the old 2080 agreement address these issues?
No.
No, it was pretty blah, just real vague.
For 40 years.
Yeah, I think that's an easy fix. I think that's what John proposed in his language, so replacing that with John's version is easy switch.
The county ends up paying for this. That's mandatory. They gotta go to the hospital and whatever. And the county has to pay for this. It isn't transferred to them eventually as an expense. It's
Certainly, usually my bill.
I think it says that's part of the provisions, if we have to take somebody from the DPS, from the Department of Public Safety, so if a trooper arrests somebody. Ultimately, we can get reimbursed for any medical expenses from the state for that. I know from talking with a couple of people from the Iowa State Sheriffs and Deputies Association, that has been talked about, is getting the language changed with as far as like the PDs and stuff. That if they bring, potentially that could be fallback in the cities, as of right now, that's been changed, so, yeah.
I had an example I gave you. We had a PD officer that arrested some guy for public impacts, and as he was walking his car, he took a nosedive on the sidewalk of the main street. And they took him out to the hospital. Well, that person was never in our facility. So when that bill came, I gave it to the city, and we battled with the city on that. And eventually I ended up having to pay for it, because technically when he was arrested, he was under our control. And so, no, I dispute that, but we ended up paying for it, so. It doesn't seem quite right, but.
But with, like you were talking, then you could possibly, if it would come about now, if it could be reimbursed,
That's again,
that's what they're working on.
yes, there's been the discussions, because there's been other, other counties and stuff, they've had.
I see.
Issues. The cities have brought their problems to the county, and the county is trying to say at some point, we want some compensation for that, reimbursed for some of our expenses.
I've heard some really bad stories where, not here, but other police departments that bring people that are really in bad shape. And then once they get in the sheriff's jail, they, oh, your problem now. And
Yeah.
you take care of it, so.
One other another question I had, just right below that side, that 8.2, we have 9. The eligibility. Eligibility of any public agency within Humboldt County with public safety or law enforcement responsibilities may become a party to this agreement. I mean, what would those be? Or, I
Yes,
mean, yeah, I'm asking you, Cole, what would you foresee them to be?
yeah, I think it could be any other city in the county. So if you read the,
Is that what you're considering? That's,
no, I want nothing to do with that, but the 2018 that.
well, I mean,
you
it was your attorneys that wrote this up. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, there's just no procedure in the current 2080 or bylaws to add other communities. But the 2080 that you guys already have with all those other communities say they're supposed to be members of the Public Safety Commission. I don't think they ever have been. The advantage to both the commission and those cities is then they can be a part of the unified district and use that levy to pay you guys. That's the advantage.
Okay.
So that it just lays out the process basically for them to be added or considered to be added.
So defining public safety, would that be a fire department? Would that be, what does that all entail?
Yeah, so it's strictly unified law enforcement. It has to be related to unified law enforcement, which is just a shared service related to something in that.
I see the cost is still 70 county and 30 city, according to this 2080.
The cost isn't in here at all.
No, I didn't see it anywhere. That's another thing I didn't see.
15.9, back page 10.
There isn't.
Effective date remaining fourth according to the terms unless modified by the commission. Historic cost and provision reference to 70% county and 30% city split. Or supersede by allocation methodology established in bylaws and agreement.
So that basically keeps the current arrangement until the bylaws are updated, which I think is the appropriate place for the financial piece. We've gotten so far in the weeds on operational stuff that the commission normally handles, which is why we pared the 2080 down just to reflect the current setup. But even in the original 2080, the 70/30 is not in there. It's always been in the bylaws. So maybe you guys can continue that battle, but it's set for this year on both parties. So you might as well.
It wasn't in the original one?
But
It wasn't in the original 2080?
no, it's always been in the bylaws in 70. So that's why it's not elaborated more in here, and rather than trying to get bogged down in the details and hashing that out, this is much simpler and would allow the commission to continue to work on the bylaws and fix the things that have been outstanding for ever. I mean, we need a better budgeting process, a better claims process, better understanding of what this pays for and how it should function. So the 2080 would allow the commission more latitude to do that through the bylaws.
Well, I really think the position we're in, where we're not sure what we're going to do or when we're going to do it, I think we should table this for 30 days and then we'll come to that conclusion. I'll make a motion.
Well, all it says is discussion on it.
Thanks.
Yeah, you can't have a motion.
You can't have a motion.
No. I think this is an opportunity to ask some questions.
Yeah, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Mike, why do you want to table it?
We got things that we're considering in the future. We're not making any decisions on it, but yet, we want the possibility of doing what we want to do, what we need to do for the best interest of the county.
That doesn't give you any information.
Well, we're not sure what we're gonna do, so I can't give you information. We haven't got the numbers to back up what we want to do. We may stay where we're at, we may move, we may do whatever. Things are gonna change or possibly change, I guess.
John, what's your recommendation? Have you had a chance to go through this with a fine tooth comb?
Yeah, I've gone through it, so. If you guys are exploring other options, then I think your choices would be to adopt a new one. Stay on the old one. Terminate the old one and be on none. Or, so yeah, did nothing, you'd stay on the old one. Right, I mean, that's not. And then you can wait to see if another option is working. if you're concerned about damage to the city, if the old 2080 agreement is in place, then it still creates the unified law enforcement district. Based on my reading of the old 2080 agreement, we can still, it's not as clean, but we can still operate under it without damage to the city or the county. And then you guys can look at other options, and then if there's other options that involve the city, at that point, and if you have a joint meeting with the city council or send them your proposal, but yeah, I think those are your options as far as what I would advise. If you're going to look at other options, I would advise you not to get tied down for 6 months in a new agreement if these other options will be figured out in the next 2 to 6 weeks. If these other options aren't gonna be figured out for a year, then you should look seriously at the new 2080 agreement and what you wanna do with that. But if it's something that's coming up soon, then since you can do something without damaging the county or the city, you're just keeping it the same. I see no problem with that. I don't know if that's a problem for the city, but I think, you know, what we've learned from the city throughout this process is it's very important to them to keep the unified law enforcement district. It's very important for them to keep some agreement with the county. And they have a finite amount of money they can give, and they need their law enforcement money. So if the 5 of you are concerned about that, that would at least right now solve everything for the city through the beginning of the next fiscal year, which I think the city's, there's July. So they're on the same fiscal year, so, it would be in effect and not affect their levy for fiscal year 26-27.
Yeah, the big advantage to us in the change is one of the provisions, I think, like in 4, would allow us to lease space. So being able to tap into that unified law enforcement levy for our space is a big benefit.
Which section were you speaking of?
Section 4. Hours.
MVP, corporate MV. We think we could get under the existing agreement as much cleaner though with the update.
So I'm a little confused here.
Yeah.
So you're asking the commission to lease space for the city?
No, not at this time.
That's what it kind of reads.
I think there's a potential for it, but not at this point.
Okay. Has the city voted to terminate the old 2080?
No.
No.
No, we won't. I mean, I think amending this is the way to go. We would never, unless something catastrophic happened, terminate it, because then we lose our levy. So, I mean, since the beginning of this, it's.
So it's more of a vote to have it redone.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the beginning of this has always been basically mutually assured destruction, right? You guys need our levy, we need the unified levy. I mean, without either one of those pieces, this entire thing completely goes off the rails and falls apart, and then we hold out significant amounts of money.
That's not necessarily true, right?
But that's okay.
So. Your wishes? Still discussed?
Yeah,
Still favorable?
I wanna get the bylaws and read through them again.
Well, I think that we should have some type of work so that we can at least talk to each other as opposed to
Even
my
if-
legal ability
I mean,
to
even if we
read this
do it
and
through the week,
understand
'cause I know you're under a crunch because of the July.
Evening, work session.
Yeah, have a work session in a few days. What's what you got to decide, so.
Friday morning,
Well, should the public safety decide first,
The public safety,
commission?
we're the ones that are funding it though, so I think the county needs to look at it
Right.
and get the approval to send our delegates down there with our approval, otherwise they're overstepping to do it. That's my opinion. The full board should be looking at this and then let.
You're talking this full board.
This full board here, look at this and give our recommendation to Bob and I to take to the Public Safety Commission. That's my opinion.
I agree.
Anybody else got any suggestions? John, Sheriff?
No, I think it's right, it's worthwhile to have a work session.
Okay,
So that's what's going on.
Just seemed to be better.
I don't think we should enter into anything that's gonna tie us up for any length of time if we're going to do anything different, that's what I think. Sorry, but once we find that out, then we can decide if we're gonna go whole hog back into this, we'll do this 20-year agreement. But if we decide something different, we gotta figure out what we're gonna do and how we're gonna do it.
Well, I'm open tomorrow. They're repairing something over at the feed mill, so I'm in limbo. So other than that, it's whatever day you wanna do it, we'll figure out a way to get me here. I'm my own boss, so I'll be here. I know that, it sucks, but
I've tried to say I was my own boss, too. I got somebody else.
well, you don't, she's not listening, I haven't seen her name up there, so.
I myself would like to look at this as a work session. I mean, just so we know.
Sure.
Otherwise, we go this other route and then it just pushes it further down the road. So at least we'll have a decision if what we wanna do with this. And if the other options don't work, we can go back to this. I don't know. That's my thought anyway. I just gotta get a tooth fixed sometime this week and I don't know when that's gonna
I
happen.
got time, I can help you.
Hey,
I'm not very good at my dental skills.
I think I did a fire, right?
You got big hands too.
I'm still confident.
And my bifocals don't always work best.
So.
You're
That's it.
asking for a work session with
you.
council.
Same for you.
I think with our board. More so here and. What do you guys think?
We need to talk about it amongst ourselves.
Anybody thought about ourselves more? I think we got a lot of different opinions. Around the table.
I'm good with that. Just, we gotta figure out the day.
Monday sounds good to me.
Who?
Monday sounds good. No, tomorrow. Tuesday.
Tuesday.
So
We can't,
you can.
no, we got some places.
Oh, that's what I was wondering if we had to go. Alright. Tuesday's not work.
Okay.
What time?
Later.
Saturday.
Later, yeah.
He worked it as quick as we can and I don't want him there, you know, so.
Is it morning? Is it morning?
Yeah, 9 o'clock.
9.
I probably can't do tomorrow.
What day works for you, John? That's probably, your schedule is probably more firm than ours.
Tomorrow, I think I have court all day. I have a thing that starts at 1 that I don't. In theory, it should be done by 2, but in practice, probably by 4. Wednesday, I'm good. Thursday after probably 11. And then Friday. Right? Yeah.
I'll make it work, whatever.
So
Wednesday, most, like I said, I don't know when
I won't be here Wednesday.
you won't be here.
I will not be here Wednesday or Thursday. I have to put up a baseball scoreboard and that's my only days. Weather permitting, so unless you guys wanna help put it up. No, it's not.
80%.
It's not gonna rain here.
How about tomorrow?
That
How
means
about tomorrow
5%
afternoon?
here.
Perfect.
Would tomorrow afternoon work? For you, Bob, cause tomorrow afternoon.
Later the better.
John just
Oh, yeah, that's right, you said you couldn't do it, yeah, and you're kinda important.
Unless you were only gonna rent golf carts and follow him around the court.
Well,
no, that's
Court. Oh, you thought he said course.
Yeah, sorry.
No, sorry.
What's going on Tuesday morning?
He's got stuff going.
Oh, we're.
Okay, so
We are gonna be able to
if
cancel
you,
that.
if you set it at 2:30,
Well, how about later today?
Yeah.
later today works. I was gonna say, if you set it at 2:30.
Depends how long we sit here and beat this thing up. Pretty
Yeah,
bad.
you were right up.
If you let me go now, I need to get
I don't know
to.
if we can we legally do that? Do we have to post work sessions for 28 hours or whatever it is? I think we do.
Before. Do it.
Well. You could always
Tomorrow. This
Post-
a piece of paper.
pause this.
I should be able to do it in an hour.
Can you do that?
But
Pause this one and reconvene?
I don't think, I don't think so.
Do it right.
It's all right.
let's just do it tomorrow at 2:30. Will that work for everybody?
Works for me.
Yep, that'll work.
Bob?
Sure.
Yay. Look at how excited about it.
Good.
When we get done, we'll have a group hug.
Yeah.
We love you, Bob.
We're a close knit group.
All right, 2:30 it is.
Oh.
And
Now you're gonna go to the next topic there. Discussion on dispatch.
question on this stuff. Last week at Public Safety, we were talking about this 28E agreement. And being this was brought up, talking about cost sharing and that we did looking at other communities, what they pay for dispatch and Cole, he knows Humboldt's high compared to other communities. And so I thought, geez, they're paying about half what they are per citizen, per capita, put it that way. Why couldn't we share with another county and cut that cost? I've mentioned it many times down at public safety meetings for the last several years. I've always got booed. But we gotta look at cutting costs for the county somewhere. So I brought it up again. And I think it's a discussion the board needs to have. Because, I mean, what started the whole thing was this 2080. 70-30. So when you start looking at different numbers around different counties, I realized ours is darn high priced. So we've been looking at the other people, and I think we need to look at that option before we jump into a 5-year 2080 agreement. That's opening comment for discussion.
Well, if anybody listened to DISAC, that was the number one thing that they recommended. Was all of us, 99 counties, need to start putting things together, whatever. We all want our little town to stay the same and not change, but by the same token, if you're having struggles with numbers, and it's only gonna get worse.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing everything they can to reduce our revenue. And our expenses keep going up. So you gotta look somewhere to cut costs. Our county seems to apparently against windmills, because that would be one revenue source. So we gotta look at cutting costs.
Well, let me write that on there too, because that's next week's.
I know, I'm just putting that out there so you put it in the paper,
Well, I know, I'm just
so.
reminding people the 22nd.
I'm just not really sure law enforcement and dispatching and having local controls where you wanna cut.
I know. But you got, I mean, it's a phone call that goes into a database, it comes back out. It's easier than personnel in the law enforcement area. Or, I know it's personnel for dispatch, but they also will be hiring new people to take calls. If we go down that road, we don't know if we're gonna go down that road.
We don't know what
We
the
can't-
costs are.
We don't know anything until we explore it, so.
So have you actually sat down with
No.
dispatchers and see what they do from day to day?
Have I? No.
I mean, there's warrants of arrest to put in, there's no contact orders to put in, I mean, there's a lot of work that
Yeah, I
goes
know that there
behind the
is.
scenes that you guys don't see.
I encourage you to come sit for a whole day.
Yeah,
Come sit and watch what happens in dispatch center.
I've been down there a lot.
Yes, and also, probably 6 weeks ago, Wright County asked us to take over their traffic because Clarion was charging too much.
Wright County didn't.
For
Eagle Grove.
Yeah, yeah, because Clarion was charging too much. In that same token, you're not comparing apples to apples when you go to Wright County, because Wright County has 3 police departments that they're paying into. They have Belmont, they have Clarion, they have Eagle Grove. We have 1. You can't compare. Yeah, they're only paying $40 per head. But they also have 3 PDs that are paying into Eagle Grove, or into Wright County. It's not a fair comparison.
It's still per capita.
I don't think that it's a fair comparison for us, and I just don't think you're gonna have somebody that's not from the area that is gonna try and dispatch out to this place. You know, like when people call here, they say, oh, Wolverton Hill. You're gonna have somebody in Wright County that's trying to dispatch your officers here. You know, I mean, there just is landmark things that somebody in Wright County is not gonna have any idea. And to have a dispatch center that is 25 miles away. Or when you have somebody going into the LEC, how are you gonna handle that after hours? You know, are you gonna staff that when, like, say the civil deputy's not there? You're gonna staff it from 8 to 5 when Jenny's there, or when Jenny's not there, how are you gonna, you know, those are things that you have to think about. When, you know, after hours, as people go there to, you know, people come in to have a call made or whatever, what are you gonna do with that? How are you gonna handle that? There's just a lot of things that the LEC is used for other than dispatch. And I think that moving it and is just a very poor decision. Not just because I work there, but there's a million reasons why I think it's just not. It's not a good choice.
Well, appreciate the input, because that's what it is, discussion.
Absolutely. And like I said, I encourage each one of you to come and sit for a meeting and just see what goes on in there.
Take it finger.
Sure do.
well, and I know several years ago, I didn't still have that contract with Dow's, which sits in Wright County. Did some agreement with Franklin County as far as dispatching and stuff, and that caused a whole bunch of problems over there. I don't know if they still do it yet or not, I don't know.
Isn't Sac and Calhoun still been hooked up together?
Oops,
Sac and Calhoun
for what?
dispatch.
No, SAC is 0.
Well, currently, Calhoun is doing sacks for they're down for some,
They're building a new jail, aren't
they're doing something down there. So Calhoun is actually doing Sac counties right now.
Temporarily.
It's on a temporary basis.
One house working.
I don't know,
Should call them.
so.
Well, anyway, those are the items that we're currently dealing with. In this hour job that we do as we.
What's
Well, that's,
the cost per capita for Humboldt County dispatch?
6177.
When you pull out all the things you can, the actual cost of dispatch is about 6177. If you take the whole total LAC or public safety budget, it's about $80 per person, but that isn't, you know, that's buildings and utilities and custodians and all that stuff. But if you break it down to just dispatch costs, it's $67 per capita versus.
3950, I think.
Yeah. So, well,
Cause ours is structured different than other.
another option, if we could bring in other people to ours to help defer the costs, is an option too. You know,
And we've done some structure stuff and.
if we could, and, you know, have another county come into ours and use our system, would get more people.
Is our system, I'm asking you now, is our system set up that they can handle more than one law enforcement? Wright County has their capabilities three. Do we have is ours antiquated enough?
Ours
that we
can,
can-
ours can go with Wright counties if
Yeah.
they need to.
No, I meant, can we support another, say we got, Polcom wanna come over and join us? Is our
Because
system,
we couldn't because they're different than ours, but
But
we do,
they would have to change equipment.
Yeah, they have
Yes.
digital radios or analog, yeah.
yes.
Yeah, they're old system.
But when Wright County goes down, they call us and they say, hey, can you have our traffic for a while? And we do. So, I mean, we share stuff with them, we do the same thing with them, so.
well, when Rick was talking about somebody else coming in and joining us, I was wondering if we had the capacity to do that.
I don't.
You know, like Eagle Grove was looking for someone to take her. But our costs are probably much higher than what Wright counties are. You know, so we won't be any cheaper.
Cause it'll be money things, as you
Yeah.
know. That'd be the move, I mean.
Well,
That's why we're
so
looking.
is really $80 that much to save in midlife if we have some.
I know, you look at it that way, yeah, I know.
I mean, my God, I mean, we got local control here and these gals know where, you know, the streets are and stuff and which fire departments and ambulances and stuff to page out. I mean, $80 per person to save someone's life, is that really
But
that bad?
it's not like you're throwing it away, it's just giving it to someone else to do. They're doing the same job. But I can see your point about where landmarks, where like a lot of people don't know that they're on 120th Street
Correct.
and Elm Avenue, you know.
Yeah, we do a lot of, landmark stuff and, just people don't know where they're at and landmarks and just knowing, I mean, you get to know the people that call in, and so people just say their names or whatever, and you just get to know those people. And so you put somebody who doesn't know the area or are not familiar with the town, and it's the reasons of process.
But we don't just hire local people for dispatch, so they have to learn that.
They do,
But you mean, what I'm
But
saying,
most-
that's not one of the qualifications for somebody to be hired for, hey, do you know the local area?
no,
I mean, I know what you're saying,
Yes.
but people can learn those landmarks and whatnot.
Even to Webster County, we'll get a call to service for 120th Street, cause it's a Humboldt address, but it's in Webster County, but they think it's still ours.
Yeah.
You know, and then we tell them, no, it's in your county, it's 2 miles south of the county line. Stuff, and they go, no, that's yours, because it's, 28, 25, 120th Street Humboldt, because that's Humboldt address down there, and they still think it's
Ours.
Humboldt County.
they also fear how 911 stuff would work when you have that broad of an area. Because right now, sometimes Bright County gets our 911s just because of where somebody's at. So then if we talk about opening that up, and all 911 calls would go to Wright County, then it's gonna start jumping to other counties, it's gonna start going to Cassuth County, or what actually should be Wright County, because it's Humboldt County, it's just gonna cause a lot of chaos and not go to the right area, you know what I'm saying? Cause right now, some of them already go to the wrong county and it has to be transferred, and so things are just not gonna go right where they should. There's a lot of things to look into, I think, before a decision should be made.
We won't have this choice in a few years. I think the state's gonna tell us where we're going to go. That's what I fear.
Well, that's
And I don't wanna go, at that point in time, what do? You start laying out people to make things work. I don't wanna do that.
Well, I think irregardless, you're gonna have to like, either line, then,
Well, with that, I guess we're doing what we can do to try to figure our costs and see where we end up. We appreciate the input. Well, with that, you wanna go to committee reports? I'll remind everybody before you start, Bob, the next week is the second reading of the windmill ordinances, not, and I'm not, don't wanna piss off the natives. But we had an hour and a half last time of people coming up and giving their opinion, and we appreciate it. We took notes and everybody, but the same people, if you come in, we remember you. So we know that there are people that are
Thanks,
Yeah.
thank you.
for it and against it. We're just trying to move the scale and say that these are our numbers, so.
If there's some particular items in the ordinance that you don't like,
Exactly. So we can make it
that's.
That's the 22nd.
Yeah,
next Monday at 9 AM, right, is the start?
Yeah.
So hopefully, we won't have a whole bunch before.
well, we were other meeting before and then do the
Yeah.
wind ordinance.
Just get the wind and the
Okay.
other stuff, so anyway, go ahead.
Absolutely.
Bob,
I'm just, so I was confirming my meeting for the damn meeting at 10:30. I had public safety at 8:30 on Tuesday. And then we had the courthouse for canvas votes at 1 PM. And then Thursday at 4, we had the food pantry. Which Traub, who owns Oaks Garden Spot now, they donated tomatoes, onions, canobi or whatever the stuff they had.
Broccoli.
Yeah, broccoli.
Nobi,
Robbie or
Colorado.
whatever.
Obi Kenobi.
They donated that to the food pantry and all that got given away. Next time that we do this, we need to put it at the entrance to where they first come in. That way we can hand it out, that way we're not jumping on top of each other. I thought it was quieter than normal. What are your thoughts?
Food pantry?
Yeah,
It was just a kind of chaos because there was.
I
people
got the
wanting-
numbers and it
People
says
was
there,
wanting produce and we was trying to carry boxes and nobody's opening the door, so you're standing there trying to open the door, holding the box, it was just kind of,
that's all I had for the week.
anyway, yeah. Tuesday, the 9th, the canvas votes here at a weed and, tree and weed complaints. Went and talked to some people about spraying our noxious weeds and as the weed commissioner, and I got that taken care of. I called, Nathan, visited with him about it, cause he's willing to come down with anybody that wants his services. I think Colton may have won that offer. Stopped up to, Wednesday, I stopped up to 190th, took pictures of that, 190th street that they brought the spoils up and elevated the road a foot. It turned out really, really nice. Everything's done, the tile intakes, everything's put back. It's a pretty nice road. Thursday, mobile food pantry. Hot topics webinar, ISAC, and then cybersecurity, incident management. County leadership and participation packet, tabletop exercise down at Briggs Woods Convention Center. Really, really eye-opening experience because we didn't have no communications. Everything was down. The only thing we had was power. And then you had to figure out what to do, when to do, and what steps to take to get it done. Iowa State put it on. It was pretty interesting exercise.
What day was that?
That was Thursday. And Saturday went over to DD 35 to see if the contractors started working on that project, and we hadn't been there yet, but checked it out anyway. That was it.
Oh, on Tuesday, we had the canvas votes. That was at 1 o'clock. And Thursday, I had food pantry. I think they're gonna do some changing. I believe they kind of talked about maybe doing some changing as far as how they're gonna run it a little bit. Nothing in stone, just visited about it, so. I'm trying to move things along. I thought we had a pretty good a pretty good turnout. We actually fell short.
Oh, we ran out of food.
We ran out.
Oh, what else may have extras?
Well, yeah. But it was,
So it was like food at 4 boxes every morning, a half box, and we
I
had
know,
a lot of food, we just. gave
yeah,
away a
that's
lot of it.
exactly right. We did have a lot of food, but a lot of food went,
They served over 439 people, it says,
yeah.
so they must have had a pretty good supply.
It was just one of those things that I just felt kind of bad that they're one that, I don't know, she was right on, I think she was right at the limit of time too, and she was the last one through and didn't get anything. We had nothing to give her, so, but that's all then. I've got Trish.
Okay, Tuesday, 8:30 at public safety. And then Tuesday afternoon, I did canvassing up here at 1 o'clock. Wednesday morning, I drove down to Rockwell City for IDDA, and I kind of gave you guys a brief discussion on that. During our, well, I shouldn't say during our meeting, after our meeting, we could sit around and chat about issues they have, because we got, way up north, Wright County, Calhoun County, different people from different parts. And, we talk about, like crossings of, district mains and stuff for wind energy pipelines, permit fees for those type of things, and they vary immensely from $500 to $7,500. And the guy, so I think if we get into that area, we better be looking at crossing fees, and it's not like, oh, DD 18, you get a one-time crossing fee for the whole district. No, it was every time they crossed the main, they paid this permit fee.
And it should be.
Yeah.
So those are things we gotta look at, and I think the IDDA would be a good resource when we get to that point to get some different ideas of what other counties have done and whatnot. So,
Could you ask them to photo or video that? Picture of them going across our tile?
well,
I don't know, I'm just asking.
I could ask, but I don't think anybody's doing it right now.
Well, I'm just curious to know that somebody says in 2 years, well, that tile isn't taking water.
Well, most of them are making them bore under the mains. Anywhere from 3 feet to 5 feet below the bottom of the main. So. And some of the dredge ditches, they are,
How big would the borehole be? How big is that transmission line?
probably ain't very big,
Okay.
but. They don't go over the mains, everybody can go under the mains.
Okay.
Well, crap, out west of town, we got a main that's 35 feet in the ground, if they wanna go across that, that's a heck of a. Or. But anyway. And so there's, we have a lot of good discussion there and.
How do you ensure that? I'm at dumb question, but how do you ensure that they did, okay, we bored under that until somebody digs up the tile and they didn't?
Because you charge them 7,500 permit fee, so you got somebody standing there watching.
Okay.
That's why you justify that cost, you're gonna have somebody there watching them. You just don't trust, but you watch it,
Verify.
verify. So we did that, Wednesday morning. Thursday afternoon, more like evening, I drove out to 35 out by Ron Collins, to see if that guy got started yet. Then I drove on over and looked at the Murray Bridge. Again, they did get good barricades up to keep people from driving down there. And then I heading up 185th and I seen a fire in the road ditch. It was from a power line that tree had fallen on. It was actually burning. So we called the fire department in, Midland Power. So he took care of that, I guess. So that's what I had.
Okay. On Tuesday, I can't help with the election canvas. Then after that, I went up and visited with John. On Wednesday, I called and visited with Ben briefly on the conversation of the phone ringing out at the secondary roads, and his comment was his last week with the paving and the other things they had going on, and then I think the guy was coming to inspect the Murray Bridge, so he said there probably was a chance that if Kim left, that the phones rang. And I assumed that people would have left a message and called him back, but he said sometimes it does happen. So Thursday I had a baseball game, so I didn't get to the food pantry or the mobile, but she did send me the numbers. I can read them here. She said she had 33 volunteers, which sounds like you had plenty of help. Humboldt, they had 117 families, 331 family members for the drive-through. Humboldt Homes had 48 families, 59 members. Livermore had 21 and 49 family members for a total of 186 families, 439 people. They delivered approximately 8,500 pounds of food. So that was quite a large number, and the next mobile would be on the 13th of August at 4:30 as well, starting at 4:30. All right.
My hot topics that I described is with Jeff Edger from Ehlers and Clooney. We went through every facet of employment, personnel files, handbooks, tech and workplace, tech policy, tobacco use, employee evaluation. We went through every step of the process of hiring and discharging people. It was actually extremely enlightening on what you can do and what you can't do. As well at the time. Any work with veterans preference statements to notice of vacancy, it's vacancy. And disabled employees, basically the Iowa Code 214. I was one of the better ones. I would recommend it if anybody gets a chance to set through that.
Speaking of veterans, you jarred my memory. David called me, left me a message. They are to the point where they are doing a background check on someone, so hopefully, knock on wood, we'll have a recommendation here soon to fill our position. And again, I would beg for any veterans that are interested in doing the 4th of July parade that they are going to be the grand marshals, so we need to know so we can try to get as many people on the trucks to carry them, because we want to show them our appreciation for everything they've done. So with that, anything else?
Before you go, when you're asking that, is that just veterans from Humboldt County that live here now? Or live in the past?
Any veteran that is a veteran that lives here in Humboldt County.
That lives here now, okay.
Or even if they move, do you think even if they moved away and come back for the parade, they could get on?
I'm assuming.
I don't think we're limiting it
No.
to just.
It's 250th birthday, and we just would like to show our support and appreciation for any or all that serve. Well, I don't even want to give names because by God, they'll be calling me. But it's Doug Vincent is the head of the parade, right, Cole? Still?
That's fine.
And I told him, or I made a comment to MS about how many vehicles we could get, and he said we should be able to cover it. So I guess my next step would be to go across the street and talk to the hiders and say, how many of them new trailers could we confiscate for if we had you're talking 470 possible veterans showed up. Dave Lee said we could get chairs from the VFW so we could we're figuring on a 40-foot trailer that you put them, you know, folding chair. And put them back to back, and that way we could, 42-foot trailer, we could get roughly 40 on the side.
40 total.
We're gonna back the chairs back to back, so that they'll be facing, you know,
Oh,
each side.
So
So we
that's-
hope that we'd be able
so
to.
that 20 times 2 is 40.
Oh,
So you got 20 on each side, so that's 40.
well, we don't know, I haven't found a trailer that I went out and taken a folding chair and said, we're figuring a foot. Chair would be roughly what, 2 foot?
Yeah, a 48-foot trailer would give you 24.
Yeah, so,
So you get 48 people on the trailer.
On a 48-foot,
Really funny.
and that's right to the edge, too.
and the other thing is here,
No,
it's never congested around where the
Oh,
parade
God, no.
starts, so let's drag 7 semis up there and park them there and say, oh, we only need 9.
It almost would be best to get them loaded up out at Hy-Vee or something and then bring them up.
Well,
I mean, it's just a suggestion,
Fairgrounds.
or the fairgrounds or something.
you got your foot up for you.
Rather than try to get everybody loaded up on the trailers there in the
Yep.
parade route.
and these are
Yeah,
all the
parade
things
routes
that,
too.
that
Yeah,
we're
that's
trying to figure out in what, we're 2 weeks or 3 weeks from it, so that's why the sheriff's gonna be up there directing and, you know,
There is a loading dock out to secondary roads. If you wanted to back a flatbed up to that, you could probably just have them walk on it.
yeah.
Hypothetical.
Not a bad idea. That might be a bad idea.
Yeah,
Well, however, either that or I suggested maybe like the elevator has a big parking lot and it would just go up the side street.
Yeah, that'd be a little closer.
The only thing is we don't want anybody, you know, that is handicapped to think we can't get, we're gonna get them on there.
Yeah, cause there's a lot of veterans that are
Yeah,
handicapped, have an
So-
issue with walking,
but,
or else with this elderly.
yeah, I walk, I'm handicapped, so, anyway, that's what I had. Anything else? Dean?
No.
Keep it down. Anybody else? I'd look for a motion to.
Make a motion to adjourn at 10:23.
I'll second.
A motion and a second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Both same sign, we're out of here, thank you all.
We're here doing.
Second meeting.
2:30. 2:30.
It's 2:30 today.
Tuesday.
4.1.
The damn committee.
Public safety.
I didn't know.
They have insurance, they weren't about to do. They do
Well, I
have
heard
insurance. Yep.
Was an agenda published?
That's the way I read it.
That was
Just
these
discussion.
small towns are
Tuesday,
paying.
Tuesday discussion goals.
This protect
I know.
the library.
I read it in the public safety.
Well, I haven't went to their meetings for the simple fact that I haven't went because, I'm sitting here and I didn't wanna be the one that has to look at me and say, well, you do.
Understand it, probably want to get it done before it leaves.
Discussion, cause then we're gonna have our meeting next week. What?
All right.
Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock at Wright County
Yep, I'll let
Courthouse.
hold there.
Yeah, just
In the supervisor's room, we're having
gives
a
me a better idea what's going on.
Yeah.
informational
Yep.
meeting, trying to figure out what the numbers are going to be. I guess if you wanna come, you can, if you don't, that's okay too.
Well, if you plan on coming, we need to
We need to,
put a note.
well, I need to know if there's going to be, we need to.
I'm going, cause I'm not working, well,
I'm gonna be there for sure.
I'll probably pass. I got
That's
all-
tomorrow.
9 o'clock. Down at the court.
and if you go in
All
there,
right.
I'll let you know how.
you gotta walk around the front because the back is the cards that they won't let you in that door.
We wanna get it figured out.
Yeah.
Or the west side
The west side of the courthouse,
Wednesday.
is the
Your meeting
You have to have-
Wednesday?
Yeah.
trial,
On
like
the west-
our,
Well, you want us to walk in the west side.
yes, you can walk in. And if you go into if it's in the supervisors, you go down the steps.
Yeah, that's where it's at.
Yeah.
Betty's gonna be